It's kind of weird, but we're back. All right. It's getting kind of chilly. Now it's kind of weird, but we're back. A little Wi-Fi ain't gonna stop me. I don't know about you guys, but wrenching is one of my favorite things to do all by myself sometimes, and just enjoying being hands-on and mechanical. I don't know. It's a great feeling. Don't get me wrong, I'd rather be with my buddies working on the car and stuff, but sometimes being on by myself and doing this, it's got a little I don't know the word, but like a medical feeling. I don't know how to explain it. Keeps me calm, keeps me back and thinking about life, and I guess just being here in reality. And I don't know, it's just weird. Maybe it's just me. It's a lot of fun. I love wrenching. I like wrenching with you guys, It's pretty cool. Now, what I like to do is when I pop these guys out, I like to put those bolts back in just so I don't lose them. Not like a safety measure, but just more of a stupid measure. I guess you could call it that. That way I don't lose stuff, especially like the nut to the top of this thing, the little clip to the shift linkage. I just attach everything back to its old spot. I do it, like I said, it's a habit of mine, so I have less stuff to lose. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but it works. For me. So that one's a 13. You guys have any questions or anything tonight while I work? I'm all ears. What's going on, Monroe? Haven't heard from you in a while. How you been, buddy? All right. So 2 bolts that we took off from the trans up here for the slave cylinder. Plug them back in. Pretty straightforward. Just give them a couple turns. Whew, that smells so bad. So the next step that we have on this job is removing all the wires right here and the starter. So there's only a couple clicks. All right, that one's going to be a little tricky. Oh, there's that guy with that Ferrari again. There's a guy that lives around here with the Ferrari. Thinks he's all Mr. High and Mighty. And I know he's on his way home because I can hear him rev from like 3 blocks down the road. I'm just waiting for him to not see his car anymore because he has to see the bill when it costs to do an oil change on that car. Man, that thing's stuck in there. It really blows. Well, I'm not going to stop unbolting stuff, so I'll get to that when I get to that. Right now, I'm going to unbolt the power steering line. There's a hard line right down below that attaches pretty much straight to the transmission. There's one. There's another one. I got to take off the skid plate from underneath, but that's one. The big issue I'm having right now is on the starter. There's a thing that's in the way. I'm going to try wearing a glove right now. See if that works. That sucks. Okay. These clips are kicking my butt tonight, man. Usually these come off super easy. Like that. All right, main power wire is off. All right, reverse is removed. So all that's left is just there's a 13 underneath here. Keep up all the hard work, couple hours difference. Have to change out my starter this weekend. Be safe. Watch the rest tomorrow. Have a good night, Monroe. So there's a funky little 13 mil hidden underneath all of this. And I hate it because it's like in a weird little spot. And it's not easy. What's up, Em? No.
What are you using for the window?
I put it back inside.
Where? On your toolbox?
Maybe. Check there. So there's the 13 that's underneath there. You'll see right here, that's where it mounts. I mean, you can definitely try to pull it out with this, but you're going to have to take it out anyways. So I typically just pull that whole thing out. Put the nut back on because you're going to need a much larger socket to get the bolt off of there, off the starter. The starter has a couple bolts, one here and one down here. Same thing with the 13 down below, and then you're going to use the same bolt, and that starter will pop right out. So that's actually a quick DIY. If you guys were watching that, the starter's right there. So this process is exactly the same for all Mark IVs. So remove battery tray, and you're there, man. Let's see. I think it's an 18. Yeah, it's an 18. And I only brought 17 and 19. But no, 18. Let me go grab an 18. All right. Found my 18. I'm using a 1/2-inch socket for this job because you need a lot of leverage here. Now, you guys got to keep in mind when you guys are doing this job in this area, do not break loose the bolts on top. There's another 18 right here, another one towards the back, yeah, right there. Just leave them alone. Break everything loose underneath first before you take those off, before you drop the transmission. Because if you don't, you're going to have a hell of a time trying to get that sucker out. There's going to be a lot of tension, but if you put a jack underneath it and you leave those bolts for last, it'll make your job so much easier. You can see right here, that's your bolt right there. Now, there's one more right over here. There's a 13 on it, so we got to get to that. Same process. You know what I hate the most about this? You know, you have a tool and it's in front of your face, but you lost it, but it's in front of your face. I hate that. You know, it's right there. It's like right in your face, but you know, you don't know where it's at. Like the worst feeling ever. It's like it's in front of my face, but it's not there. But it's in front of your face. Too long. Go underneath the car for a minute. Want to know the best things about having a Lifted Mark IV? You can get access to almost anything underneath the car without a jack. It is so cool. All right, now we get the 18, and while I'm down there, I'm gonna take the other 13 off. That's on the bottom. That's holding the main power steering line. Might as well get it out of the way since it's in the way of my job. So get there. There we go. starters out. Just throw the car away. All right, so power steering lines are out of the way. The main wire loom is out of the way. All the bolts on top are done. So we have 2 bolts right here at the top of the transmission that we don't touch until the end of the job. The next part of this is actually getting the car on jack stands. Break loose the front tires, take off the wheels, and then we're going to remove the axle bolts. There's 6 of them in total, 6 on each side. 12 in total, 6 on each side. Once those are removed, unbolt the rest of the bolts on the transmission, remove the dog bone mount, drop the tranny. We're good to go. Pretty straightforward. I mean, not that hard of a job. Yeah, it's a little bit on the annoying side, but it's not that bad. Pretty much what you guys have been watching currently is removing the starter, all the parts on top. We just got a couple little things left and we're good to go. It's not that bad of a job. It just seems like it's scary. So my next step here is we're going to be jacking the car up, breaking the wheels loose, jacking the car up, and then going from there. All right. There we go. Breaking this wheel loose first. I'm going to move you guys further back. You guys get a better view. Give me a second here. There we go. So we are here. This wheel's broken loose. That wheel's next. Parts around. So all lugs broken loose. We'll get a jack, some wood, some jack stands. We'll be right back again. There we go. I like that better. Oh, got a comment here. Hold on a second here. You have any insight on where to find a good hard? Yeah, talk to Tiny Dude. Joe Garcia is who you want to talk to. That guy is really good at finding Mark IV parts or Mark III parts. Hit him up. He's really good. Okay. Jackson over here. And Jackson over there. Thought I had a jack. Yeah, Bren, talk to Joe. That guy's good, man. Really good at finding stuff. Two by four. There we go. That's one side. Woo. Let's see here. What's up, banging? Just got this. Pop up. Wing for set. Just trying to get this guy. There we go. Other side. Oh man. Nice. There we go. Whew. That's all done. Wheels are off. Oh man. What you guys been talking about, huh? Nothing. Besides this car. So we're going to be working on over here on this side. Well, there you go. So I got to remove the axle bolts next. So that's the next part of the job here. Let me go grab a charger really quick from my phone. No bueno. I don't know where I put it. Be right back. Let's see. Give me a second. I can use my boombox to charge it. So that's what I'm going to do. Got my priorities, man. There we go. Charging and talking again. Whew. Close call. So we're back over here. So we're going to need a triple square for the, I think it's an M10 or an M8. And we'll grab that really quick. All right. So it should be an M10. Checking right now. No, it's actually an M8. Well, I'll be darned. Be right back. Yeah, I get the smaller one. I've never used that before. All right, found my M8. All right, so on this job, it's a little tricky because you need some length on you. And I hate using multiple extensions, but you actually have to do that to reach this one and the other one. The other one, I tend to do it underneath the car. It's a little bit easier, so I'm going to be doing that. But the one that's on the driver's side, it's easier to do it from out of the car with a bunch of extensions. This just sucks. I hate using extensions for something like this. And don't forget, you're going to need a screwdriver as well to get this job done. I'm just getting some light down here. Now keep in mind, guys, there's 6 bolts in total. You can try to go 2 at a time, but yeah, I need a new axle. That felt weird. What am I doing? Not thinking here. Last one. no, missing one. I guess that was 5. That's weird. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's all of them. Interesting. We'll drop, but we'll get to that when we get to that point. Get on the other side now. Whew. Nice, Chico. Very cool, man. Yeah, it just turned 11 o'clock here, too. Now we're getting on the opposite side. Hell yeah, man. Very cool. So now we're working our way over here. Now, big issue we're going to have down here is that I have to work underneath the car. I got to remove my skid plate first before anything else can happen. So I got to go get my little ratchet. All right, my little ratchet here. Tiny, just get the bushings, dude. Save yourself a lot of money. You're not gonna get that much of an upgrade by getting new control arms. Just get the bushings, bring them over. So I gotta go underneath the car right now, guys. So bear with me. Itchy butt. go. You guys can check out my skid plate. That's what we use for a skid plate on this car. Yeah, I bought this at the swap meet for $5, and it took a good beating. Took a couple rock chips, but not bad. Okay, so the skid plate is now removed. Now we have to go to the next part by removing the actual the things. Let me take you guys down below. Do. So we got to get down here to the axle bolts. So, and the way that we do that is with a smaller ratchet and a shorter little extension, nothing long. Obviously, you do the same thing with your Phillips here. Let's see here. Now there's a trick to this, because you got to find that little spot that barely fits. All right. This is such a tight spot. I'm trying to do this without the extension. Yeah, work better. A lot better. So not nicer for you for some reason. Even though the angle doesn't change by much. It's pretty. No. There we go. Ow. That really hurt. Oh, that got me good. Hey, babe. What's up? Nice. What's left? The hoodies, right? Shirts and hoodies? Okay.
How much are you doing?
I'm almost done, actually. I got a couple bolts and the transmission drops. Be careful with the cables. Not bad. Got people on the YouTubes listening.
What?
On YouTube?
Yeah.
People are watching. So, trying to keep me entertained as I work. The last bolt right here. Come on. All right. All the bolts are removed off of that side. And this side, time to remove the dog bone. Dog bone's next. A 213 and a 17, I believe, or a 16. And that should remove that portion of the motor. And then once the dog bones are out, if you guys can see my hand, right here, there's an axle cup. It might have to be removed to the 1.8 T's. So I could be wrong, but it's a big maybe. So we'll see when we get to that point. So let's get to the next spot. Removing the dog bone. And then the next stuff coming. Ugh. Ugh. Whew. Dog bone. 13 and a 16. Or 17. Here's a 13. Right here. Now, since we got 034 Motorsports motor mounts on these, man, do they hold the engine so well in place. So when you remove the dog bone, the engine doesn't even move. I love it. So when you guys want to put the new, when you guys want see this, so now it's these two right here next.
You need any help with anything?
At the moment, no, babe. Thank you, though.
You don't want food, right?
No food. I'm working off Chipotle right now.
I'll put his banners on top here so you don't get damaged.
Okay. Juicy. Motor mounts pretty much out of the way. I recommend removing the axle covers underneath here. I know it's kind of weird, but they give you a little bit of extra clearance. You need to move up or down. So they help with that. There's a bolt here, and you just walk your way underneath, and you should get it out. Again, the other issue you're going to have is the other axle. So we're going to remove the ball joints right now, so we can take care of that problem, and then go from there. Huh? No, it's okay. See here? Now that we got it out, now we have all that space we need. Beautiful space for that transmission to come out on this side. Copy that side on the other. Copy that process on the other side. Should be golden. See that? Beautiful, beautiful space. There we go. And that's out of the way now. Whew. Okay. Now we work our way around the transmission, getting all the bolts off, and then dropping it pretty much. That's pretty much it. Not bad for a night's work. Let's see. How long does it take for 2 cents of the car to get ready? For Tiny, you're still watching, buddy. The fuel evap code usually takes about 100 miles before that. Before you can actually get off. Before that actually sets. It's about 100 miles. So hopefully that helps. Whew. Okay. Let me get you guys back up here. So now we got both axles off, both control arms off, control arm bolts off. So now you have, it gives you about like 2 to 3 inches of play on both sides. So that gives you enough space to drop the transmission. The dog bone's removed. So the next step here is to, oh man, my brain's out of it. Remove all the bolts from underneath the transmission and then work your way to the top. Before you take the ones off top, support the engine with a jack, with a piece of wood and a jack before you do anything else. It is a #1 priority for your safety. Is get a jack underneath the engine. You're not going to be underneath that engine. You just need it to support it so it doesn't fall with the transmission. You need to be able to do this kind of a teeter-totter system when you're working on it. So I know it's kind of a weird thing to do, but that's how you take care of that situation. Okay. Whew. All right. So like I said, I'm down to the last couple bolts, and this will be dropped. Let's see, I'm a little tired right now, so I'm just trying to get my marbles back together. Here we go. Right back. Your jack. Okay, engine supported now. Now, remember what I said, you got to work your way around the engine, transmission, to get the bolts out of there. So there's quite a few. 16 and 18 millimeter is what you're going to be working with down there. So I got my 16 here. I got my 18 here. Okay, so let's see here. I got those 3 done. There we go. So down below, we're done. Move you guys over here. Well, it's not going to work. Here for the action. There we go. Okay. Oh. Now everything's unbolted from underneath. What's left now is the 2 top bolts here. That should give us the space we need. Now, if you want your life to be less painful, this is one of the hardest parts, actually. Personally, I think is one of the hardest parts of the job. So, remove these two 18mm bolts here. What's going to happen is you're going to drop the engine, kind of sag the motor down at an angle, and you need to access the 3 16mm bolts that hold the transmission bracket. Those 3 are like this long, and they take forever to take out, just FYI. Um, it's a really long and short process. So give me the heads up. God knows if these ever been removed and it's ever in its lifetime. Probably not. So I'm expecting a lot of grief from it. Um, Hopefully not very much, but more than likely I'm gonna have a lot of grief from this job right here coming up. It's one of my. I hate this part. This is the one part I hate doing. I know I sound silly, but everybody's got their little pet peeves, and this is my one on this entire job. I mean, the transmission's legitimately ready to come out. Right now, I just removed the 13. There's a 13 millimeter bolt that holds the negative wire. Put that nut back on. You don't need it. There's two 18s, one here and one over here. That's all that's keeping this transmission pretty much assembled in this car. Um, Again, remove the motor mount, remove the transmission bracket. Once that's off, remove the two bolts that are holding the transmission pretty much together. Lift the engine back up high, kind of at an angle. Once you do that, you'll be able to take those two bolts off. And if you want to, it all depends on how strong you are. In all honesty, if you're pretty good at lifting stuff, this job becomes very, very easy. If you suck at lifting or anything like that, this job will legitimately be nearly impossible for most people. It is a very big headache job to do. Just so you know, to get the transmission actually out. I'm gonna try to take it out without removing the axle cup on the passenger side. Um, right off the bat, I'm telling you right now, it's probably not gonna happen. I'm probably gonna have to remove it. Um, I already saw where my problem's gonna probably show up pretty quickly, but I'm gonna try it. Um, there's not a big notch in the way, but there is a little one, which I think the axle cup is gonna catch on. Right on the corner. And like I said, I don't know. It might work, might not work, but wish me luck. Now, right now, one bolt of the motor mount's off. I'm going to give it a pump on the jack. To keep the other mount happy and not dragging on the actual engine. This is a big problem with a lot of people who don't do this job correctly, and they end up dragging that bolt. And what happens is that the bolt will start stripping in here, and then you're effing the butt, and then that's pretty much it. And then you end up stripping the entire bracket, and that's just even worse. So now that's the transmission is legitimately unbolted now from the actual body of the car. We're going to drop it. We're going to show you the three headache bolts that are going to be coming up right now. Problems down the road. All right, get some light. I'm going to show you guys what's over here. to show you this up close, okay, guys? Whoosh. You guys can see that. Need some light over here. Okay, so where is it? Let's see where my hand is. There's 1, 2, and number 3. Those 3 bolts need to come off. Just cross-threaded and fine, right? Tight is tight, cross-threaded or not. Fucking tiny. That meme never gets old, man. Let's see. I know. I thought, cool. Oh yeah, if you pop the bearing out, I'm sorry. That is a headache to put. That bearing is such a pain to put back in. The axle cup isn't that bad, but the bearing, man. Be right back. I gotta go grab a 16. All right, got my 16. Oh, this died. I gotta charge it. Okay. Battery life is dying. So hopefully you guys can hear me at least. One of my lights died, so hopefully that works out. Just need my. Here we go. I highly recommend doing a 1/2-inch socket on this part because this is going to be a really long job. I might hate doing this. At least it's not stripped. Once it gets about 1/4 of the way out, it gets a lot easier. Still a pain though. Let me see. A couple uggas would do you good. No, you don't ugga this stuff. Do it by hand, fool. You want shit to break. Gotta be gentle, tender. Okay, bolt number 1. Done. Come on. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, if you're going to put it back in, yeah. It's fine to use an UGA. But make sure you put in at least 10 threads in. Whew. Before you UGA this one. These bolts are, oh my God, are long. Way that workout, man. Ah. Oh man. Right? Man, nothing like fixing a car that is a piece of shit. Didn't care for. I always find something that has me scratching my head like, how do they manage this? Yeah, I agree. Seriously. That's right. SoCal Gunner wrenching. This is like at least a 10, 15 pound resistance, man. Oh, there we go. Another one. Last bolt though, to get the bracket off. Third one off. All right. Okay. Now the reason why we do this, and I'll show you. You guys are gonna get a front row seat pulling that motor out. I mean, not motor, transmission out. Bar here, one of the bar, but the frame of the car is actually in the way. So I would crush the Civic, daily the GTI, and then burn down the 350Z. So we have the last two 18mm bolts on top of the transmission. What we're going to have to do, once those two are out, we're going to pull the tranny forward about a 1/4 inch, turn it, and try to wiggle it and push it out of the car. Turning it is the key, just so you guys know, to getting this transmission out of the car without having a huge headache. That's a 16. One. There's 18. Let me get the one in the back. Remember, guys, the bolt, not the bolt, the sensor on the back, the speed sensor. Please, 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 please don't forget that it's there before you break it. Cheater bar. No, I can't even fit a cheater bar in here without damaging something else. All right. Here comes the transmission. Should be already separating it. I see it already coming apart. So now we're at the magic moment here. Okay, so now it's the transmission is actually off the flywheel, or off actually the mounting points of the alignment pins. That's what it's called. And once you have it off, I remember I was telling you guys got to turn it. That is the key for getting this guy out of your car. I just turned it about a good, turn back. So turn it and then pull it forward, kind of like drop it down. I mean, it's not the best thing, but it's the easiest way to do this job. Make sure that power steering line gets out of the way, because if not, you're going to end up breaking it. power steering line is probably going to be the best if we zip tie it. And zip tie it to these power lines right here. So I'll be right back. So, grab a zip tie and just zip tie the crap out of it to these wires. Now, don't make them tight. All you want to do is just prevent the line from going down. That's all you want to do. That line, this power steering line, gets in the way for dropping the transmission. And if you do drop the transmission onto that and rip it, yeah, you got a new power steering line to buy. And that's not cheap either. Right now the rear axle's catching. I mean the driver's side axle's catching. So it's preventing me from pulling it out. So I move the axle on top of the transmission, and hopefully that's all I need. I'm getting tired. Let's see if I jack the engine up. Transmission should drop. It's legitimate. Oh, it's stuck. Oh, I should have done it. Should have hit the ground. Well, it's off. And I gotta no, definitely. I know they're not that heavy, but it's on the ground already. It just got caught on the subframe. and the back of the transmission, the back of the engine, it's caught on. Looks like a pretty easy fix for another day. I think if I jack the car up, it should give me the space I need to wiggle it, and it should be out. I think that's pretty much it, though. Yeah, I mean, see how long this video took. An hour and 49 minutes to drop a Mark IV tranny. Not bad. So a current record, I believe, for me. I think the fastest I've done is under 3 hours. Personally, and now it's actually faster. Let's see here. There, it's out. Just gonna manhandle it a little bit. There, it's out of the car. Show you guys. So I ain't lying. You guys can see it there. It's out. Not attached to the car. It's on the ground. So to put it back in, it's going to be a lot easier with the axle cup off. I think it's going to be a hell of a lot easier. Man, it smells so bad. Wow. Check out this throwout bearing. That is indented. Holy smokes. That's done. Totally done. That's an OEM bearing right there. I don't know if this has been here since, I don't know if this is original or not, but this is an OEM throwout bearing, and this car has 278,000 miles. So if this is OE, holy smokes, this lasted a long time. Well, that concludes our very long night working on the Outlander, removing the transmission. If you guys have any questions before I call it a night, please comment now or forever hold your peace. So what I'm going to do now is clean up, leave everything underneath, do some cleanup. Tiny, we're going to be doing an OEM spec. We don't need much power. So it's going to be an OE spec clutch with a little bit more grab than the factory one, but pretty much OE spec. Nothing crazy. Again, this car doesn't need a lot of power. It just needs to get us there. All right, so any other questions? But I mean, that's not bad. Under 2 hours to remove a clutch. I mean, remove a transmission. Tomorrow night, we're going to remove the clutch and flywheel, and then we're going to show you guys how to install all that tomorrow. Man, it smells bad. This clutch is completely burned up. Can't wait to take it apart and see what that looks like. No, I got all new hardware, Tiny. You never, ever reuse clutch hardware. That's so dangerous. I mean, people do it, but it's not the smart thing to do. Oh man, I'm a little tired. 12 o'clock, not bad. Brand new flywheel, Tiny. I hate oil pans. I'd rather pull a transmission than do an oil pan. Oil pans are just such a headache to do. Because if you just mess up, if you don't put that RTV just right, it's gonna leak and you have to do it all over again. It's a headache and a half, man. Oh. So, thank you for tuning in and enjoying this long session. Long transmission removal out of the Outlander. This video pretty much is exactly the same process for any Mark IV with an O2J, O2M transmission. Pretty much any 5-speed or 6-speed transmission is exactly the same process. There's nothing special or different about it in any other engine or transmission style when you're doing a manual transmission. One thing, again, guys, you got to really pay attention to is if you want your life to be a lot easier, remove the axle cup on the passenger side and just drop it. It falls right down. It won't catch. You literally just pull the transmission, turn it about a quarter turn, and it just falls down. The reason why it took me a lot longer is because I left the cup on, and you have to like go down, go up on the engine, go down and up until you can get it and fandangle it out. Not the best idea, but since it's a little dark, I didn't want to go about that. What's going on, Banging? What do you got? Got a question, buddy? So the axle boot is hitting the bottom of your coilover. Okay, so your coilover is sitting too far down. The strut is supposed to sit like flush almost to the bottom of the spindle. So what's happening on the bottom is that you've passed the actual threshold to where it's supposed to sit, and because of that, it's gonna rub that. It's not supposed to touch at all. So you need to unbolt the main. You need to unbolt the strut bolt, push it back up, and then tighten it as hard as you can back down. I probably would highly recommend getting a new bolt for that spindle, probably because the bolt is stretching and it's not compressing the actual spindle anymore, so it's just sliding through. It's actually a pretty common issue when people overstretch the bolt, so you're not compressing hard enough to hold the actual strut in place. Another issue is you probably don't mean any disrespect, but it's a possibility you have cheap coilovers. Cheap coilovers aren't 100% match the body, the spindle true, so it's a possibility as well. So it's hit or miss. If you have good coilovers, then it's not the problem. The problem is that you spread it open too much, and you got to squeeze that really hard. But what you have to do is make sure you give yourself that space to not do it. Okay, yeah. So solos, they're good coils. So that's the issue, is that you're just going too far down. You need a if you look at the bottom of the coilover, it's got like a dome. That dome should only pass the bottom of the spindle. If you see the dome, there's a round, like, tapered portion, and that tapered portion should be flush to the bottom. It's kind of weird, but there's like a little dome, and you have a flat portion that should only hit the bottom. If that passes that, you've gone too far. Yeah, that should never rotate either. It should have a locking, or what we call, where the strut goes down. It should have like an alignment, little metal alignment bar, that has a bolt has a hole that you can run a bolt through. That allows you to. It pretty much prevents it from passing. Oh man, that sucks. So yeah, you might have broke that part off, and that's where you're at right now. So I got to clean up. I'll talk to you guys later. Good luck on that banging, by the way. If you guys have any more questions, please comment down below. Hit me up through Facebook, Instagram, on all that. I can definitely help you as much as I can when I got some time. But thanks for tuning in and watching the live stream with me and helping me keep my sanity while I work. Because we finished it. We did it all in one session in under 2 hours, by the way, which is super impressive. So thank you again, everyone, for watching the live stream at Pinchal's Garage. And as always, if you see a fellow dubber on the road, give some respect, thumbs up, or some deuces. Peace out. But as always here, we're going to break, fix, and repeat. All right, everyone? Peace out and much love.